Hey guys, how we doing? It's Irkie500, and this is going to be the third battle that I'm going to bring you here. This is between myself here in the black and white versus the Luke over there. This is on a heavily forested map. I can't remember the name. I forgot to look at it when coming in. I do want to preface by saying I used some rather I guess, whatever, I'll cop to it. I used some rather cheap tactics in this video to pull out a W. However, I do also want to mention that my opponent was, I believe, a 5 or a 6 star, but he was a silver. So, what that means is he is prestiged, and while he is in similar rank to myself, he has some extremely veteran troops that he's able to bring. So, at this point, you can see I only have, a couple veterans in my army, but I'm playing mostly vanilla units. And so he's going to, while he doesn't have the numbers that I do, he's got some really, really strong infantry. I think he had a Naginata warrior monk cav, yeah, right there with 7 chevron. Then he's got another katana cav with 5 chevrons, mounted gunners with 2 chevrons. So just his cav alone is terrifying. So the rest of his army, Yari Samurai, Nagi Warrior Monks, which can do some damage in melee, Nagi Sam unit, Long Yari Ashigaru. If you guys haven't played a Long Yari Ashigaru and Spear Wall before, why don't you go grab any unit you want and try and break through that line? Not going to happen. Very deadly if you can get them in the right spot, but as is any unit, very susceptible to a rear charge. He brought a melee general as well, so I mean his general has 11 armor, impervious to arrows, and very high melee stats, so definitely a big threat to me. He also has the morale shrine very close to him, so he is going to be able to capture that relatively quick. But go ahead and put this in play here. I have the archery dojo next to me. I mean, not really a huge help. If you bring a skirmish heavy army, then it's going to give you a big advantage. But for me, I only brought a couple bow units, so nothing that would really give me a distinct advantage against his ridiculous cavalry. I think I did forget to go over my army, so I brought 3 units of bow samurai, I believe. Yep. A couple katana samurai, and I think I brought a Naginata corps for this battle. A deep penetration Nagi Sam making another return here. So I brought a light cav and a Yari cav. I mean, against a katana cav and a warrior monk cav, they're going to get absolutely trashed, but at least they can slow them down enough where, I might be able to send in a reinforcing unit. He does use those. He had a unit of mounted gunners, and while a lot of people are pretty scared of those guys, they have 100 range, they can do some hit and run tactics. You're going to see me use my light cav to just pretty much totally disrupt that and just keep them at bay to a point where I think at the end of the battle they might have had like 30 or 40 kills, so not nearly as devastating as they normally are. And I'm not sure, I never got to take a chance to look in the battle, but I believe they still do have to reload as soon as they're within range. Their guns don't come loaded. So when they get into combat, I'm going to take a look and see if that is still the case. I don't know if they had addressed that in the patch. I don't think it was a bug, I just don't know if they had changed it with a balancing issue or something like that. And when I say I employ some rather cheap tactics, some of you are probably going to call me a red line camper, and while that's partially true, as the red line is right there, he still has plenty of terrain to flank. However, I am camping in the woods. It is a tactic that I'm not too fond of. I mean, okay, there's a lot of woods, use the terrain to your advantage, but I prefer a much more open ground, fair fight when I'm fighting opponents, but I had to take some rather dare I say the word, noobish tactics, because he had a very superior cav force to mine, and I would have gotten wrecked on the open ground. So I retreated into the woods. I'm going to force him to bring the fight to me, and here you can see his mounted gunners are going to be getting shot at by my bow samurai. And then I end up charging them with the, I believe my light cav unit, or both, and then I retreat one of them, I can't remember. So, yeah, it looks like these guys did come loaded. They did get one volley off, but you can see they only got 6 kills, and they've taken 20 deaths to their unit. And I think looking back, actually, I probably should have chased them down with my light cav, because they are faster than a Irkie500 unit, and they would have definitely caught up, because I think these guys actually end up getting away, and I let them be. I think they start wavering, and then he started to reinforce with his katana cav, so I backed away. Yeah, so I don't think he realized how many bows I had in the woods, and he got torn up pretty good there. You can see the trail of horse bodies lying about. So I still control the sword, or the archery dojo, and this is when the battle starts to turn up a little bit. And he also brought, I didn't spot these guys before, I think they were in the woods. He brought matchlock warrior monks and a matchlock samurai unit. So call me a noob all you want for possibly, camping the line or hanging out in the woods, but when he has that distinct of an advantage in the open ground, I'm sorry, I'm not going out there. It's just absolute pure suicide and not a smart move. So using the terrain to my advantage, I think, is a viable tactic. Red line or not, I don't really care. And actually, you'll see I did forget to move these Naginata samurai in the woods, so they get shot by the mounted gunners, which end up coming back from being wavered. I think they only take a couple kills before I finally realize that and run them away. Excuse me, I'm a little tired. So yeah, these guys are finally firing. Like I said, they did get some kills, 20 kills or so. I end up chasing them off. The reload skill on these guys is pretty poor, so even a unit as slow as a Naginata samurai, he was scared enough. But it delayed just long enough to pull my light cavalry out and chase them off. And I had to turn those guys around, get them back into safety somewhere in the woods. So this is where things are going to start to go down, and I think he, at this point, still has a katana cavalry unit over here in the woods, and I end up forgetting about it briefly, and he does yeah, it's right here. He charges in, so I chase off those mounted gunners with my light cav. They take a couple matchlock shots, but here you can see this is bad maneuver on my part. These katana cavalry will absolutely just, look at how fast they're racking up kills. I mean, 35, 40, 45. I mean, they just destroyed that bow unit in about 10 seconds. So katana cavalry, very, very dangerous unit. My light cav ended up getting shot by those matchlock warrior monks. This is a very, very close battle. I'm not going to tell you who wins, but it does come down to the wire, and we were both scrambling towards the end. I do end up, actually those katana cavalry are still in there, even after my light cav charged them. But I threw in a Naginata samurai unit to try and hold those guys off. They still get through the bow line. I mean, these katana cav are extremely potent units. I mean, look, they've already got 100 kills and climbing, even at, they've got 15 guys left, and still kills are racking up. So he charges in the warrior monk cav, and I was not paying attention, and my light cav did not get a charge bonus, but reinforced the Nagi Sam unit. But again, that cav unit there is extremely potent. As you can see, the war cry popped out there, and this is when the action starts happening here. So arrow fire is still going. Those matchlock warrior monks don't take very many casualties, but man, do they rack up the kills by the end of this match. Holy cow. So you can see just pretty much a melee blob going on right now. Apologize about that, guys. I forgot recording, so this is part 2 of the video clip. But anyway, you missed about 3 seconds of action. So we're gonna get a lot of melee fight going on here. It's gonna be a little hard to commentate as far as what's going on. I mean, it's just really, blob versus blob, to be honest with you, and it's all happening in the woods, so it's gonna be a little hard to get some close-ups. But you can see I got War Cried, and then I rallied on top of that, so yeah, kind of a negate, but not really. And that morale shrine that he got is going to help him out immensely. You can see those matchlock samurai, 50 reload skill, 60 accuracy. They're going to start getting some serious kills. I go with an outflanking maneuver here. Actually, I think I end up trying to go for the matchlocks. No, I went with a rear charge, and that was a smart move of my opponent right there. He just turned those matchlocks, and he's going to just tear into the back of that Naginata samurai unit. And I had one of two options there. I could have charged the matchlock samurai unit, but Naginata samurai are just, they're way too slow, and I would have never caught up. He would have sent in something to reinforce. Or my other option was to just try and get a rear charge and break morale as much as possible, and that's what I chose. And I think either way it would have been certain death at one point, but whatever, we all make mistakes. And so in the back, I think I just have some bow units. I don't even have any units in reserve right now. I mean, everything is on the full commit. And like I said, this does come down to the wire. And these matchlock units are just freaking absolute nightmare for me. I just cannot get these guys dead. I mean, they just keep tearing in my units. You can see that one there is starting to get a couple more kills. That unit actually wasn't as effective as I thought it was, but the matchlock samurai got near 100 for the match. So I charged my general, and I got caught on the Yari samurai unit, which, big problem, I lost about half my bodyguard unit there, but I eventually do loop around and get a charge somewhere. I think, yeah, I rear charge these Naginata samurai units, and I can see a bunch of little bodies go flying there. So what is he left with at this point? He's going to have, units are gone. He has his bodyguard, which is a melee general, which is very potent. He has a Yari samurai with about a third of his strength left, and a couple matchlock units. What do I have? My bodyguard with 12 guys left. Two katana samurai with about 150 combined. So, very close match to my opponent. I apologize if you ever for some reason watch this. I apologize for my cheap tactics and camping in the woods. I promise I don't do that every battle. It was just, you brought a superior army, and that was my way out of it. So, that is video 2, and I'll splice in the results screen and kind of go over post-battle recap there. Alright guys, so here's the results screen. I deployed about 1,300 men. He had about 1,000, so I had 300 more men than he did. You can see very Pyrrhic victory there. I mean, I lost about 3/4 of my troops. Unit stats here. My katana samurai did some work, about 130 kills. All across the board, I think my melee units performed well. I mean, I had a pretty strong melee component for Naginata samurai and 3 katana samurai, and 1 sword attendant as like a meat shield unit, and even they got 35 kills. You can see his katana cav just wasted bows all day long. So I thought he brought a great army. They did very well. I think that terrain just really killed him. Yeah, as far as things we could improve on, I thought my opponent did play a really, really good game, so I don't really have many thoughts for him. But yeah, the woods just gave me a lot of cover against those matchlock units, and once I got into open ground, they did do a lot of damage, but they didn't do as much damage as I think he thought they would. And same with the mounted gunners. I think he might have used those a little too early. The way I use mounted shooter cav, I've just recently been using the Donderbus cavalry. I like to move my army in close and then use those guys for like an outflanking maneuver, and you get a side shot on a unit. Um, but to use them as a scout and have them way far away from your army, I think puts them at a lot of risk. You can see, you saw that I caught them with a light cav unit. My Yari cav got into him and chewed him up a little bit. But the biggest problem is that your opponent's bow units are not tied down shooting at anything else, so they can just go ahead and take free pot shots at your mounted shooter cav, which whittles them down. So if you do use the mounted gunners or the Donderbus cavalry, I would say make sure your units or their units are engaged in doing something else before you release or spring those guys. Maybe hide them in the woods for a little while. Because let me tell you right now, Donderbus Cavalry, I just played a match where within one volley they wasted an entire Yari Samurai unit. 120 kills just right off one volley, so they're incredibly deadly. Mounted gunners, same way, a little bit longer range. So use your units to their best effectiveness, but good game to my opponent. You played very well, so I appreciate a good match every once in a while. But I'll try and get this video up as quickly as I can. They do take a long time to upload, so they might be coming out a little staggered. I think I still have like 4 more to do, so I'm going to get those to you as quickly as I can. But other than that, until next time, guys.